Dragon Master versus Vince Paglia. This one's actually be pretty darn interesting.
Um,
Dragon Master Valor's the Manju.
Vince is playing Herald, it looks like. Dragon Master is probably playing his dragons, as usual.
What do you think about this though? I mean,
I think that the Herald deck is really, really good. But I think the fact that that Valor was there
oh
might
yeah.
have just saved him the game early on.
Well, you have like a major underdog versus a well-known name,
Yeah.
and even though, well, I guess kind of Dragon Master is kind of known, but
But Vince is like considered the best player in Vegas by far.
right. And Dragon Master is competing in this tournament, man. He's been tearing it up.
Well, ever since, I'm not sure if the people watching are aware, but Dragon Master's thing is he only plays Dragon decks. He just
Right.
sent that to Grave off of Alternative, I think, though. Hold on one second.
Yeah, he popped the Maju and then Synchro for Spirit. Looks like he went to go ahead and he attacked. I believe he went for 5,500 on that one. What was that conversation about?
I wasn't sure what he brought back with Gospel.
Oh, I think he brought back the
Yeah,
alternative.
he brought back the Alternative, but I wanted to make sure because I know he sent the Blue Eyes itself to Grave by accident when he revealed it.
Right. We need to change these life points here because it looks like he got them all the way down to 2,500.
Brian. Yeah, Brian's on his way.
Man, look at that ending board. What do you do? Is it pretty much game 2 at this point?
I don't know. Because the thing about Spirit Dragon is that he's able to 25. Spirit Dragon prevents you from doing anything more than one, which for a Pendulum matchup means a lot, but for Cyber Angels, irrelevant. But I think if he summoned out the one that he can pop a back row with,
Yeah, he went for tagged out the Spirit and went for
Yeah.
Azure Eyes.
which is pretty early on as well. Like I would have
Yeah, that was
waited
way
until
too
he
soon.
used the Benton Engrave. But I think right now he's about to go into Herald, and if he's not smart with his Dragon Master, he could potentially be in a bad situation if he's not smart about how he plays around it.
Yeah, I think the only reason why he went for the Azure Eyes is just that way it can be targeted, can be destroyed, just to protect his dragons.
Which works, but I'd rather wait until the opponent activates something like a
Right.
Raigeki or
Yeah, he definitely went into that too soon. I mean, Spirit's definitely,
Spirit. If
A
he sat
chainable
on that,
effect.
he could have changed it to a Benton effect.
and then,
But I think Dragon Master thinks he's playing the Chaos Max version. I think that's what he's looking at right now.
yeah, because nothing has came. Well, he's seen the Herald.
But that he just saw though.
Right.
Prior turn one, he just
Seen
Valor the Manju.
Yeah, you're right. That's what I would think too. Is all right. Chaos Max is coming out. Valor the Manju, I win. But
Is he
we'll
gonna
see.
crash the Manju?
Oh,
with
he
the
dropped
Honest?
the Honest. That man still plays Honest. What a savage.
I think
Honest
Honest
is
in
very
this
relevant.
deck
Yeah.
because it's searchable, and you can bring it back with the Ritual Field spell by putting back your pre-preparation of rights and all of your ritual spells and everything. I think Honest is a really relevant card. But that 1400 damage, I don't think that's enough. I don't know why he would have done that other than to get that engrave if he was setting up for Christia. But even then, what's Christia going to do?
Yeah, well, we're talking about Paglia. He has a plan.
Yeah.
I mean, for some reason, that man always thinks of the craziest combos. And right now,
He just discarded to add it back.
well, because I believe that, what is it, Herald of Helm or something like that? It protects itself.
The way that the Herald spell works is you can, upon ritual summoning, you can banish it and add the card back. So you add back the Benton.
Oh,
But if you're thinking of the Hymn of Light, which is used for Saphira,
okay.
that one and the Cyber Angel or Machine Cyber Ritual
Right.
Both
That's
of them have
crazy.
grave effects, but the Herald, it just lets you add that card back. Which, when you think about the card that it's with, Herald of Perfection, that's amazing.
I think we're going in game 2 here.
I think so. And I think he's going to swing, and that'll be it. Yep.
Wow, Paglia really doesn't scoop. Good job, Dragon Master. That was legit.
He's proud of himself. You can see the smile.
Well, he knows he beat one of the best in Vegas right now as far as game 1.
Yeah.
So we will see what game 2 holds for him. So what would you think a good sideboard would be for, not necessarily Vince because he knows what he's doing, but Dragon Master versus that since he doesn't have experience playing that deck.
Drolling Lockbird is honestly the only card I can think of
You
to
think
side
so?
against this because he cannot use Light Imprisoning Mirror, which is my go-to option. But Drolling Lockbird is probably the best option. Vince, meanwhile, I'm not sure if he's running it, but we were talking earlier on the stream, Brian and I, about Stygian Dirge.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Because that forces you to banish it off of the spirit.
Right.
But Stygian Dirge preventing that Exceed summoning or the Synchro summoning on your opponent's turn.
What about Master Restrict? 'Cause it's
Against
tribute.
Vince, you could,
Yeah.
but at the same time, that's an iffy situation.
And
there.
that's the only card because Monarchs is pretty much dead. Obviously, one ARG, but
Monarchs actually just topped a regionals yesterday. I believe they got 4th place.
oh wow, really?
Yeah, so
thought it was
the
just the
deck is
ARG.
not by any means dead as long as Pantheism and Stormforth are still cards.
True, true.
I think if you ban Pantheism, then the deck's dead.
Well, yeah,
Naturally.
because they need the draw power. I mean, that deck survives off draw power. But
the extra deck version is completely necessary.
well, yeah, you special 2 tribute instead of because the old Monarchs were basically just Stormforth into and just
Stormforth on your opponent's turn. Now you have to be smart.
right.
And I
Now skill
don't
comes
think a
into
lot of players who played the deck will be able to be that smart to play it.
True.
But I think if you find that matchup, you're going to have a hard time.
Oh yeah.
Because anyone who has that much dedication to still play the deck despite that many hits.
With On Hell, it has to be exactly 6. So if
Yes.
you see like Vince pitch something.
Correct, I'm aware.
All right,
So
Judge.
Billy was just confirming that with the card for Herald of the Arclight, or Herald of Perfection, the ritual spell to summon him, you need to have exactly 6. I think that's the only one that Vince runs that it requires exactly 6.
Right.
Cyber Angels, their spell, you can use up to as many as you want,
As long as you can.
as
well,
long as it's at least 6. Same thing with
So 6 or more, basically.
yeah, same thing with Stafforda, which when I was playing the deck myself, I used to pitch an extra one just to make it so that I could get double Ben 10 searches,
Oh wow.
or just go ahead and get my Christia graveyard set up.
So do you think this deck right here will actually be the new meta? Oh wow, looks
I
like Vince
think
opened up
if
broken.
dragons get hit, but honestly, I don't know where you'd hit the dragon deck aside from Melody.
Right. Even then, I mean,
Even
you
then
could
the
still
deck's
run it
still
at 2 or
playable.
1. Yeah.
But I don't know what you do to defeat Blue Eyes, and I think you have to go first and really open that sort of field, like a Herald with Christia. If you get turn 1 Archlord Christia on your Blue Eyes matchup, what are they going to do?
Pretty much nothing.
Yeah.
Oh, hold on 1 second. We got technical difficulties. The camera just went down here. So he's going to go get it. All right, hold on 1 second here. He's going to go ahead and adjust this for us. Looks like our camera got hit a little bit, so
Unfortunately, the cables are directly underneath where the players are sitting. So
looks like Vince has an amazing shot here.
no signal.
All right, sorry about that, guys. Quick failure, but just to let you know what's going on in the match. Vince does have Herald out. His hand is a little broken.
He opened the pre-prep as well.
And didn't I see Desires in there too?
I'm not sure personally.
Yeah, I thought I seen the Desires.
Now, I'm not sure about Desires in a lot of decks, but I think this is one of the few where I would personally play it.
Oh, yeah.
No single. Ryan.
Hold on 1 second, guys. We're going to have a little technical difficulty break. All right.
So to catch you guys up, Vince used his pre-prep to get his Saphira and then used the effect to discard one and or draw two, then discard one. He sent an Honest to grave, but he has an Honest in hand. And I cannot tell what the other card is. I think that might be
What? That's a Herald.
whatever he just discarded.
That I don't know. Oh, wow. He drops. Well, apparently that card gets an Honest.
That's an interesting tech. I'm not sure what it is. No,
Then
the effect to get Honest back was this.
Was it?
Saphira on the end phase. It activates on both players' turns and lets you add it back.
Oh, wow. This seems a little overpowered, but the monsters aren't big. The effects are
big
overpowered.
issue is the effect of Herald.
Yeah,
Just
to
being able to,
pitch a fairy.
yeah.
Now,
And-
I noticed people in this build, too, just to kind of speed it up, play Stick and Chair.
Yeah, they can. I personally don't like it because they don't get anything off of being tributed.
Very
I saw an
true.
interesting build. It didn't revolve around Herald of Perfection. It just revolved around Saphira and Dakini. But it also ran what's the name? Heretics, so that I could go into Zolkin plays, bring out Crystal Wing.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting. A lot of people don't really know about this deck yet. Obviously, some know, like Paglia
I
and some
think
of
he
the other
just
players.
scooped it up.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Good choice on that one. That board just looked like it was too lit.
I personally think it's one of those decks. Like, I've been watching it since it was announced in the OCG, and I think it's one of those decks that good players can play. I think bad players are going to have a harder time, and I think if you're not necessarily willing to put in the time to learn the deck, you're better off just trying to play Blue Eyes.
Yeah, very true. I mean, that deck seems very techy. Like,
Yeah, it's very smart to play if that makes sense. It's difficult to play if you don't know what you're doing. You can't just pick it up and play it. Blue Eyes, meanwhile, all the cards are pretty solitaire.
pretty straightforward. It's just big beaters, attack you for game.
Yeah, you know what to add, you know what to pop,
Right.
you know what to discard. Pretty simple. Meanwhile, Cyber Angels, Ben 10 is a interesting card because it's a searcher.
I know, and it's going up in price.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Ben 10 started with a pre-order price of like $2. I think they're at 7s currently.
Mhm.
Ritual Sanctuary is actually at 13 now, I believe. Off
Is it
TCG,
really?
Which is amazing because I did not expect this deck to be that fan favorite.
Wow, and I gave a bunch of those away to my teammates. That's crazy.
I mean, they're teammates. Whatever
Well,
they win,
still.
you get, don't you?
Yeah, I'm very interested in this build.
I'm a firm believer that this deck could be ultra competitive. I don't think it's got a good Blue Eyes matchup, but as you can tell, if you get that first turn Herald,
Yeah, you pretty
it
much
doesn't
got
matter. You can Herald and hit that Raigeki. You can hit that Sage Search effect. You can even hit stuff like Alternative Dragon Reveal to Summon. They've got the Monster Reborns in the Blue Eyes deck, but you can hit those as well. It's honestly an interesting deck, and I think it's going turn 1 is really strong.
And it looks like Dragon Master actually opened up pretty decent.
Now, if he makes the same mistake, that'll be the difference for me. If he tributes it off immediately to summon out another Blue Eyes.
True. Well, now he knows what's going on. He
Yeah.
kind of gets the gist of the game. So therefore, he doesn't really have a choice but to play smart. And then
And
he
he
goes
does it straight ahead.
straight for that. Yeah, he's
And
so
see-
worried about that card getting hit.
That's a big issue for me. And he's playing the Star Seraph build, and he's got the chair in hand, so he'll go +2. +3,
and
actually.
he
I
doesn't
believe.
Veiler it.
Does he not have the Veiler?
He does have the Veiler in hand.
No, I'm not sure if I'd hit the the
It-
stick, or if I'd wait until he exceeds summons to
Right.
Veiler. That would be my thing. Because he's going to draw his 2 cards, but if he exceeds summons into something that can banish it, such as the Evil Swarm,
Yeah, see, now he has the Desires, and he's going to go for the Desire play. He seems like he has... I mean, the only way you would hit Desires is if you have everything in hand.
well, the way with Desires in this deck, it's kind of iffy for me personally, because I know at least he had the Terraforming,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't know if he has a Ben 10 in hand. And if you banish all 3 of your Ben 10, that sets you back more than Desires set you forward.
Right.
Now that's interesting. Is shuffling.
Well, I see that a lot as far as like regionals and worlds and higher events. Do you think that's pretty necessary for a local? Well, not necessarily local.
I think
it's
for a case
tourney.
tournament, it's understandable, but you drew an instant fusion. That's
Ooh.
brilliant. So I'm not sure if you're aware. I was talking with Amir when he was essentially building this deck.
Mm-hmm.
You can instant fusion, and because Norden's a fairy, you can go into Fairy Cheergill for another draw one.
Play Swords of Concealing Light.
That's pretty impressive.
Now he can target them.
Yeah,
That is an amazing, amazing card.
and this is where that Veiler is going to come in handy if he has the Veiler, and he does. If not for that Veiler there, the game would have been over already.
Right. I think Dragon Master knows what's going on. It's actually
He's got the Benton in hand, so
Yeah.
I think he's about to go off. See, that's where it comes in handy when it gets to banished add it back, because even in the old formats where
Mhm.
Herald was played, they usually just played Advanced Ritual Art to send it directly from deck. But I like the new version actually playing Dawn of the Herald.
Mm-hmm.
I think Dawn of the Herald, especially with a deck like this where you get to draw more. He's got the Gospel.
Wow, that's actually really smart. He wants to save that card.
Well, I think it's the smart play too, because if he's able to overlay with it next turn,
Mm-hmm.
or if he has something where he can synchro.
Do you think Paglia might have misplayed on that?
I
by
think
attacking
Paglia
them?
has 3 cards in hand to negate.
Ooh, so he's not really worried about it.
There's at least 1 negate that he searched. He's got the Benton, and I think he had a stick in hand already. So I'm pretty sure he can negate whatever he needs to.
Wow, he sacrifices.
He sacrificed both of them for... That's an interesting option. I would have definitely killed the Herald, but...
Right. I think he was more worried about getting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he was more worried about the Ouroboros effect, which in reality I'd be more worried about the Herald effect.
The Herald can negate, so he has a melody in hand, is what I can see from here. So if he kills the Herald and then activates melody, adds alternative, and he can pop both.
Wow.
And then he could overlay into whatever, number 37 or 38, Hope Harbinger
Yeah,
Dragon.
38.
And that would have put him ahead. That's the sort of play that I would have gone for.
This is interesting. I mean, he goes for another Herald. If he makes double Herald, that's kind of almost.
Well, the
dead
fact
game.
that he's able to add the Herald for free. Now the question is if he has enough to where he can summon an Honest or a Manju from grave.
Yeah, Dragon Master knows that it's pretty much good
It's
game
pretty
on
much
that.
good game here because he's going to add that back. And he can summon the stick or the chair from graveyard and make a rank 4 to make a Castell or 101 because he's shuffling the 4 back in.
Oh wow, that is crazy. That's actually pretty cool. That's really interesting. That's the first time I've really seen this deck in full effect.
Yeah, and I personally don't like the stick and chair build. I think that being able to make Ouroboros, for example, is very nice, but I think consistency issues for me.
Right. I mean, I could see where it becomes somewhat dead in your hand.
Yeah. But he should be going for Castell here. But I see the Fairy Cheer Girl is there as well. I don't think he'll be making it in this scenario.
Oh,
he'll
he just
make
goes
the
for lightning.
Utopia.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
In case he
good
has
game
another
on that one.
Gospel in Gray, that's definitely game.
actually
It's not
that'll
going to be
only
game this turn,
7,000.
but
yeah.
it'll be
well with the two negators.
with that on board.
Yeah. And he has
And
an
he
honest.
has an honest in
yeah.
hand if he needs it.
Gosh, what do you really do at that point?
Now I find it interesting that he chose not to Castell. I would have rather Castelled in this scenario and
It's-
save the lightning for later.
It really would have been the same play though.
It would have been the
7,000
same
either
amount of
way.
damage, but Castell is less of an endgame solution.
Right.
Meanwhile, Castell just gets rid of the problem, puts it back in his deck, makes it so that he could potentially draw into that, which would be
And
a
a bit
dead
dead
card.
card.
Not that I think he has to worry, because he can negate
Well,
card
why are we
effects
at
anyway.
7750 and 2400?
I'm not sure.
I don't follow the life points that well. But that's what Dragon Master's at 24, I'm assuming.
I don't think they've been touching it. That's because I don't think they updated it.
Well, we're going to go with the flow here. And we're going to say he's at God, I just don't really like the 50s that well.
I think that's the biggest issue people have with Evil Swarm is not the deck itself, but the fact that they're all
It's a
1950, 2550. Now, I had an interesting game the other day on Dev Pro where I was playing against Evil Swarms, and I've only won because I had an instant fusion
Yeah, and that'll be,
and a Thousand Eye. That's game.
That's
there.
game. Good job. Well, Vincent Paglia gets the win over Dragon Master.
Arguably one of the best players, and
But for even Dragon Master to win the one game as impressive as he did, shows that he's still a competitor in the case.
I think Dragon Master, in my opinion, could be one of those players that if he just really buckled down, could play. Because I think the 2 or 3 serious misplays that we saw this
Oh yeah.
match
I mean,
cost him
the
game
Azure
1
Eyes
and game 2.
was ridiculous.
Well,
He shouldn't
didn't
even have
cost
gone
him,
for
but
that.
yeah. If he didn't do that Azure Eyes play,
I think he would have.
because he
Not
could have
necessarily
potentially
won.
negated the Ben 10 and Grave,
Mm-hmm.
and by preventing the Ben 10 from getting that search, or at least forcing the Herald to negate,
Right.
then he could chain the effect.
Oh, 100%. I mean, too soon. I mean, everybody talks about it. It was just way too soon. And look, he did side in the Master Restricts,
Yeah.
but
But
I
it's an
guess he was ready
interesting
for it.
choice now. The Gamma Seal, that's something that I main deck in my Mermills specifically because it deals with things like Herald.
Oh yeah, it's an instant out.
Yeah, and I think until you see Gamma Seal get hit, it's going to be competitive.
Oh yeah, it's a 2 or 3 card at minimum.
And even if they hit Gamma Seal,
Yeah, people are still gonna run it.
they're still
or,
kaijus.
Or the
It's other
Kumongus or-
kaijus.
Yeah. But all right, guys, that was our feature match for this round. We're just gonna take a break here and go watch some other matches, and